Today I'm working on an amber and shale necklace for a heritage site handling collection, and I thought I'd show you how basic Kimmeridge Shale beads are made. Now this is Kimmeridge Shale. It just looks like a rock at first glance, but you might even be able to tell on the video that it's relatively light for its size. This is a very special sort of shale. It's only found on the south coast of Britain, and it's part of a group of materials known as jet-like materials. So up north we have Whitby jet, down south we have Kimmeridge Shale. It's an oil shale. This is the stuff that various companies want to do fracking on to get modern energy resources out of, but it has a much longer history than that, and it's been prized since the Stone Age as a material for making very, very beautiful, lustrous, black to dark brown beads and other dress accessories. Now, because it's a shale, it's a sedimentary material, which means it's been laid down in layers, and it can be split through the layers quite easily into plates. Now, a big piece like this I could saw up and I could make things like belt spacer rings from. But for my beads, what we've done is we've taken a big piece and we've cut blocks out of it going through the rock so that the grain runs across the centre point. So this is a pencil of Kimmeridge Shale, slightly larger probably than a modern pencil, and I've roughed it into a round shape just by grinding it. Now today we'd use things like sandpaper, but sandstone works perfectly well for this. It's quite soft. What I have to do now is get bead blanks off of it, and this bit is quite fun, and it sometimes ends up with things disappearing all over the house. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put it down on a firm surface. I'm going to get a blade. This is just a basic flint flake, but I've used things like bronze chisels as well. I'm going to line it up where I want my bead blank to come out. Then I'm going to hit it sharply with a hammer, piece of antler in this case, and hope for the best. This may go everywhere. Whee! Where did that end up? Right, stretch. There it is. There's my blank. And that is going to become a bead. So I've done a couple of them. I need to take several more off. I'll do another one and we'll see if we can slow it down so you can see what's going on. But it does tend to fire itself all over the place. I think I want about 4 of this size. There's another one, stretch. And one more. That one also disappeared halfway across the room. And then the last piece I'm going to turn into... I want at least one big bead for the centre of this necklace. So I think I'm going to take it off there. Right. That one was a little bit harder to do, but we still ended up with a really good blank. And I think if I can get 2 out of this one, then that is going to be really nice. Last cut. Right, that has also disappeared across the room. So there are my blanks. I've got 4 little beads, which now need to be shaped and drilled. One big one for the middle, that's going to be an oval shape. Those are still quite chunky. That one I might cut down a little bit further, but they're going to be on the sides. I'm going to take these back to the workshop now. I'm going to grind them further, then I'm going to drill the centre holes, then I'm going to polish them, and then we can have a look at the finished object. These have been drilled, and yes, I used a power drill. I was in a bit of a rush, but a hand-operated drill or a twisted sharp flake of flint will absolutely do the trick. They've been very quickly rubbed over with some coarse sandpaper. Now I just need to refine them. I'm going to use a fine sandpaper because I don't have the right grade of stone to hand, but that is just a small consideration. And it really is just a case now of rubbing them smooth. They'll come up quite quickly, and once the shape is right, then I'll go over them with a finer grade, and then a bit of leather, a little bit of beeswax on it, and rub them up to a high shine. It really doesn't take a massive amount of time for each bead, depending on how perfectly symmetrical you want them. The more complex the shape, or the more refined the shape, then the absolutely the more you need to do to them. You do get enormous beads made in shale. This is a monster bead that Gareth made a few years ago, and monster beads are found particularly up in places like Scotland, where they seem to have been something that you made just because you could. This one is on the other end of a stone mace that's in our kit, but that's there really just as a lovely handling piece to show what you can do with this amazing material. Back to the grind for me though. These have been sanded, not perhaps as perfectly as they could be. I can still see some little striations and work marks on them, but enough. I want to get on with polishing these. So you can just keep going with finer and finer and finer grades of grit and using the slurry that comes off the shale until you get a fine polishing paste. But you can also speed it up, and you can speed it up by using a bit of leather and some beeswax. Now let's try and adjust the camera so that we're looking at the right bit. Okay, I am going to rub a little beeswax on the leather. It's only going to pick up a tiny bit, and this is cushioned on my legs, so it's got something slightly squashy to work on. Now let's choose a bit of bead. All right, so this is the side that we're going to be doing. Just a case of rubbing really, really furiously. Really good bit of friction. And hopefully, can you see how that's coming up really nice and lustrous? Now I need to just keep adjusting the bead and do this over and over and over until it's all shiny. Then we can string up the necklace. And there they are. So we've got a big central one, and I'm going to be pairing these with this amber. Got a big central one, then we're going to have some amber on each side, then the big round ones. Oops, escaping state. More amber. And so on, and I'm going to pad them out with some bone beads to finish up. But all in all, those, as part of a museum dressing up handling collection, will hopefully help visitors have conversations about materials and the amount of time that goes into preparing things and concepts of adornment and status in prehistory, and I'm hoping this is going to turn into a very nice necklace in its own right. And here we go. So these ones at the bottom are the shale ones that you just seen me make. The round ones and the little flat ones at the top, those are dyed bone just to fill in, and some really nice Baltic amber. So from chunks of shale from the south coast of Britain to a necklace that hopefully would look really, really good with a late Neolithic, early Bronze Age style outfit. That's an afternoon well spent, hopefully. Bye for now.